EU countries are threatening to restrict or block the extradition of suspected criminals to the UK who are also citizens of their own countries in a move which would create a major law enforcement headache. And lawyers fear the move could result in soaring British prison populations in a major new blow for Prime Minister Boris Johnson. In total, 10 countries, including France and Germany, have ruled out extraditions completely. 2 will only allow them if the individual in question agrees, while another 8 are insisting on other restrictions. The changes reflect the fact the UK is no longer a part of the European arrest warrant scheme, meaning each individual member of the EU 27 now sets its own policy when it comes to extradition. As a result, Germany, Greece, France, Croatia, Latvia, Poland, Slovenia, Slovakia, Finland and Sweden have said they will not hand over suspects. The Czech Republic and Austria will do so only with the suspects' agreement. 8 other nations apply their own restrictions, meaning only Belgium, Ireland, Spain, Italy, Bulgaria, Cyprus and Malta will continue to allow unfettered extradition. By contrast, the UK continues to permit the extradition of EU suspects going the other way. The Czech Republic and Austria will do so only with the suspects' agreement. 8 other nations apply their own restrictions, meaning only Belgium, Ireland, Spain, Italy, Bulgaria, Cyprus and Malta will continue to allow unfettered extradition. By contrast, the UK continues to permit the extradition of EU suspects going the other way. 6:15 a.m. Update: Senior MEPs vow to exert maximum pressure on Boris in threat to delay Brexit deal vote. Boris Johnson's Brexit deal is set to be given the green light by senior members of the European Parliament, but an insider told Express. Co.uk that senior MEPs will hold off on announcing a date for the final ballot to maintain pressure on the talks over the divorce agreement's protocol to avoid a hard border. MEPs from the institution's Trade and Foreign Affairs Committee will give their final recommendation on whether to endorse the future relationship pact. It comes amid growing anger in Brussels at the Prime Minister's perceived role in the tensions in Northern Ireland. Sources say the powerful committees will recommend that MEPs back the UK-EU trade and cooperation agreement when it is put to a ballot at a full plenary session later this month. 5:30 a.m. Update: We've got our freedom. Sir James Dyson praises Brexit for putting UK ahead of EU. Entrepreneur James Dyson has hailed Brexit for delivering an independent trade policy for Britain. The British inventor has hailed Brexit for liberating Britain's trade from the restrictions of European Union membership, allowing UK business to trade with the rest of the world, and for innovating companies like his own to bring in the best talent from across the globe. James Dyson also blasted EU rules for having placed limits on recruiting non-European staff for his facility. Post-Brexit, the Dyson founder has looked to expand operations across Asia while insisting his company remains fully committed to Britain. 4:15 a.m. Update: UK COVID vaccine shows Brexit has made us world-beating, James Dyson says. James Dyson praised the UK's Brexit efforts and stated the country was able to produce a world-beating vaccine program because of its independence from the EU. Pro-Brexit James Dyson appeared on BBC Breakfast to talk about the UK's decision to leave the European Union and remarked how the move gave the country an independence of spirit. Mr. Dyson also announced he would be creating over 200 jobs in his research facilities in Wiltshire, adding Brexit allowed him to employ a wide range of people to work for him. The engineer added that the independence from the EU allowed the UK to operate much quicker than Europe in rolling out and developing a vaccine, showing the positives of the Brexit decision. 3:15 a.m. Update: It's a disaster. France fishermen bemoan Brexit deal as EU bureaucracy cripples sector. French fishermen have said their industry is on its knees as a result of the Brexit deal the European Union struck with the UK in December. French fishermen have expressed grave concerns about the future of France's fishing industry following the Brexit deal, which has decimated their hauls and put the industry on its knees. Speaking to French TV network Public Sénat, the fisherman branded the situation a disaster, adding Brexit is a real fiasco and we lose across the board. The furious Frenchman added the fish is not so fresh anymore after being forced to sail longer routes in order to meet EU bureaucratic demands. 2:30 a.m. update, Brussels draws up fresh Brexit punishment plan, but 10 member states reject bitter plot. Brussels has urged member states to reject Britain's request to join a cross-border legal pact. The European Commission has drawn up plans to convince capitals to block the UK's bid to join the Lugano Convention. Downing Street has previously asked to become an independent member of the Accord, that determines which countries' courts have jurisdiction over cross-border civil and commercial disputes. The international agreement is signed by the European Union, Iceland, Switzerland, Norway and Denmark, and also allows judgments to be enforced abroad. 1:45 a.m. update, ditch it now. Boris urged to quit stalling and pull plug on humiliating knee protocol. Boris Johnson must quit stalling and ditch the Northern Ireland Protocol without delay, former Brexit Party MEP Ben Habib has said after the government confirmed it had asked for more time to respond to the EU's lawsuit on the matter. And Mr. Habib said he and co-litigants, including First Minister Arlene Foster, were keen to see their own legal challenge against the controversial agreement come before the High Court of Northern Ireland next month. The EU launched legal action against Britain in March for unilaterally changing trading arrangements for Northern Ireland, which Brussels says are in breach of the Brexit divorce deal struck with London last year. However, the two sides have reached an agreement whereby the UK will respond by mid-May, it was announced today. 12:30 a.m. update, given, Boris. EU urges UK to accept massive trade U-turn with New Deal. Boris Johnson has been urged by the European Union to accept a massive U-turn with a brand new deal on Brexit arrangements for Northern Ireland, as the two sides edge closer to resolving the thorny issue. Brussels officials have put it to their UK counterparts 90% of border checks could be wiped out, but only if the UK agrees to align food standards with those of the bloc. Caution is being urged on the matter, with Ireland's Europe Minister Thomas Byrne warning the situation is delicate, but he admitted it would be excellent if such a deal could be agreed as it would solve problems in Northern Ireland and those facing exporters in Britain. However, any such agreement on food would seem unlikely because it would represent a monumental U-turn for the UK, which has stood firm on most of its red lines in negotiations and has strongly been against regulatory alignment to achieve a hard Brexit. 11:15 p.m. update, outrage after Labour councillor says pity Brexit supporters not culled by coronavirus. A Labour councillor has sparked outrage after saying it was a pity coronavirus had not culled Brexit voters. David Everett from the North West Leicestershire District Council made the comments on Facebook in September. The remarks, which have only just surfaced, have angered Conservative MPs who are demanding the Labour Party take action. Andrew Bridgen, who represents the constituency in which Mr. Everett is a councillor, has written to Sir Keir Starmer to asking to outline what steps you are going to take to address Councillor Everett's abhorrent comment. Oliver Trapnell takes over from Richard Percival, 9:30 p.m. update, EU brought to dire reality as Europe's railway loses £22 billion. The European Union's rail system has faced brutal losses as a result of the coronavirus pandemic. The EU railway industry lost £22 billion €26 billion in revenue in 2020, figures from the Community of European Railway and Infrastructure Companies CER, which largely represents the industry in Europe, showed. Passenger services were more affected than freight, but the pandemic is taking its toll across the board, the data outlined. The EU rail freight industry was hit with £1.7 billion €2 billion losses when compared to the previous year, a 12% decrease. 8:45 p.m. update, French minister confronted with 4 EU policies crippling France. France's Europe minister has come under fierce criticism for claiming the coronavirus crisis demonstrates the need for a European Union for health. Clement Beaune made the comment on Twitter whilst promoting an interview he'd given to the France 2 TV channel. However, he was rebuked by Charles-Henri Gallois, who runs Génération Frexit, a group campaigning for France to follow Britain out of the EU. Mr. Beaune commented, "I have one regret, there was no Europe of health at the start of the crisis. I am for a European Union for health, so that we have common decisions, which allow us to react quickly and together." 8 p.m. update, EU backs down over legal action ahead of Frost's crunch Brussels trip. Brussels has agreed to hold off on its legal action against Britain in the row over trade checks for Northern Ireland. The decision came ahead of a crunch showdown between Brexit Minister Lord Frost and EU counterpart Maros Sefcovic in the Belgian capital tomorrow. They are due to meet to discuss the ongoing tensions in the region following weeks of violent scenes in loyalist areas. The European Commission triggered legal action last month after accusing Number 10 of breaching international law by temporarily suspending EU-ordered checks between mainland Britain and Northern Ireland. 7:15 p.m. update, France fishing hell sparks EU fury as fishermen sacrificed, and MEP has claimed the European Union is not putting the needs of fishermen first as UK officials failed to reach a deal with Brussels on catch limits for UK-EU shared fish stocks. UK ministers set an agreement to strike a deal on fishing opportunities with the EU that needed to be reached by the 14th of April, but the deadline has not been met. As the announcement was made by the UK government, National Rally (RN) MEP France UMET said Brexit had forced French fishermen to be deprived of access to British waters when they are essential for their economic survival. She also claimed the Brexit agreement was neither convincing in substance nor reassuring in form for thousands of people working in the industry. 6:30 p.m. update, Eurostar warning, crisis could bankrupt companies in EU. Eurostar has been warned that its current crisis can and will lead to the bankruptcy of a number of companies unless it gets sufficient support. The French government and business leaders are sounding the alarm over the future of Eurostar as the company continues to struggle during the pandemic. Jean-Pierre Ferrando, chief executive of French state rail company SNCF, which owns 55% of Eurostar, said recently, "We are getting closer to the moment when Eurostar will have real cash flow problems. By next month, we have to conclude these discussions." Meanwhile, French Transport Minister Jean-Baptiste Djabari said in January, "We are working with the UK on mechanisms for aid that are proportionally pro-rata to the implications of each in Eurostar." 5:45 p.m. update, Brexit chance for UK to reset China relationship for trade deal. Brexit has opened the door for a more efficient trade deal between China and the UK, an expert has claimed. Former Italian Undersecretary at the Ministry of Economic Development Michel Geraci explained that the European Union's style of trade deals has given the UK and China the opportunity to reset its relationship. He said, "I think the UK is keen to rejuvenate the relationship with China independently from the EU. I think it's a reset of a relationship." 5 p.m. update, disaster as 80% of French fishermen in key port barred from UK seas. France is facing a huge Brexit crisis as 80% of fishermen operating from a historic port just 30 kilometers from Britain still don't have a license to travel to UK waters. Boulogne-sur-Mer, the first-ever fishing port in France that is located in the north of the country, employs around 6,000 people in the vital and once lucrative fishing sector. But 3 months after the UK completed its departure from the European Union and the agreement on fisheries was reached between the two sides, huge swaths of French fishing boats have been forced to remain in the port. Olivier Lepetre, president of the Regional Fisheries Committee, described the sudden fall in trade and amount of fish caught as a disaster. 4:15 p.m. update, MEPs set to green light Boris trade deal in crunch vote tomorrow. Boris Johnson's Brexit deal is set to be given the green light tomorrow by senior members of the European Parliament, but an insider told Express. Co.uk that senior MEPs will hold off on announcing a date for the final ballot to maintain pressure on the talks over the divorce agreement's protocol to avoid a hard border. MEPs from the institution's Trade and Foreign Affairs Committee will give their final recommendation on whether to endorse the future relationship pact. It comes amid growing anger in Brussels at the Prime Minister's perceived role in the tensions in Northern Ireland. Sources say the powerful committees will recommend that MEPs back the UK-EU trade and cooperation agreement when it is put to a ballot at a full plenary session later this month. 3:30 p.m. Update, Don't EU Dare. Boris issues Brexit warning to Brussels over MEP's threat to block deal. Downing Street has warned the EU not to delay ratifying the Brexit trade deal, with Brussels at risk of missing the extended deadline. Boris Johnson's official spokesman has urged the European Parliament to ensure the deal is ratified by the end of the month as previously agreed. The trade deal came into effect provisionally on January 1. A deadline for ratification was set for the end of February, but the bloc asked for an extension until the end of this month. 2:50 p.m. Update, Eurozone disaster laid bare by devastating new chart, Brussels pays price for COVID farce. The Eurozone has been clobbered by the largest drop in industrial production as it pays the price for its haphazard coronavirus pandemic response, new figures have indicated. And Emmanuel Macron's France, which lags far behind the UK in terms of the number of COVID-19 jabs administered, was particularly badly hit, witnessing a drop of nearly 5%. The data, published by Eurostat, the bloc's statistics division, will pile more pressure on beleaguered European Commission President Ursula von der Leyen, who has faced widespread criticism as a result of the EU's sluggish vaccine rollout. The volume of industrial production in the Eurozone fell by 1% month-on-month in February. 1:50 p.m. Update, EU's plot to make Brexit as painful as possible before demanding UK U-turn. The European Union wanted to make Brexit as painful as possible for the UK to stop other member states from leaving the bloc, an expert warned. Prime Minister Boris Johnson was urged this week by Brussels to U-turn and accept a new trade deal with the EU. This came after violent riots in Northern Ireland, with images of petrol bombs and fireworks being thrown at police and over Belfast's sectarian peace walls emerged this week. The walls separate nationalist and unionist communities in the country. Brussels officials have put it to their UK counterparts that 90% of border checks could be wiped out, but only if the UK agrees to align food standards with those of the bloc. 12:52 p.m. Update, EU to end vaccine AstraZeneca and Johnson & Johnson partnership. The EU has decided it will not renew coronavirus vaccine contracts with AstraZeneca or Johnson & Johnson, J&J, it has been reported. Following issues with both companies, the EU Commission will not renew its deal with either and will focus on the RNA messenger vaccines, from Pfizer and Moderna. According to a source, the EU Commission has been supported by several EU states with its decision. Both AstraZeneca and J&J have experienced supply issues forcing the EU Commission to focus on vaccines using the RNA messenger. 11:12 a.m. Update, EU plagued by so much bitterness as agreement with UK collapses. Brexit tensions between the EU and UK could lead to criminals hiding in Europe without fear of being extradited to Britain, after the bloc was plagued by so much bitterness, and MEP claimed. The latest Brussels-London clash comes as EU countries threaten to restrict or block the extradition of suspected criminals to the UK who are also citizens of their own countries. This comes as the UK is no longer a part of the European arrest warrant scheme, meaning EU member states now set their own policy when it comes to extradition. Germany, Greece, France, Croatia, Latvia, Poland, Slovenia, Slovakia, Finland and Sweden have said they will not hand over suspects at this stage. Concerns over this issue have been rife since the start of Brexit negotiations, as some warned criminals could hide out in sunny southern European climes with no risk of extradition. 10:59 a.m. Update, Brexit win. UK finally free of devastating EU fishing policy, Boris can ban supertrawlers. Britain can use its post-Brexit freedom as a catalyst for environmental reforms which protect the seas around the UK by banning industrial supertrawlers which hoover up vast quantities of fish, and which have been blamed for the deaths of dolphins and other marine wildlife, campaigners have said. Chris Thorne, an oceans campaigner with Greenpeace UK, said by being bold, Boris Johnson can also protect the nation's struggling fishing communities. Mr. Thorne said up to now the UK had been shackled by the Common Fisheries Policy, CFP. He added, in a year when the UK is hosting the G7 and the vital Glasgow Climate Summit, we should be presenting to the world a positive vision of global Britain as a world leader in environmental protection. What better way of doing this than properly protecting our seas? 10 a.m. update, rip up the Brexit deal. Britain's furious as EU urges UK to accept massive trade U-turn. Boris Johnson has been urged to rip up the Brexit deal with the European Union after Brussels urged the UK to accept a massive U-turn with a brand new deal on trading arrangements for Northern Ireland. UK and EU officials have involved in intense technical talks over the future checks on food, plants and parcels going from Britain to Northern Ireland. Relations between the two sides had hit rock bottom last month, with the EU launching legal action against the UK over the extension of the grace period for checks on supermarket goods travelling from Britain to Northern Ireland. Now Brussels officials have reportedly put it to their UK counterparts 90% of border checks could be wiped out, but only if Britain aligned food standards with those of the bloc. 9:40 a.m. update, Brexit given UK independence of spirit to make world-beating COVID vaccine, says Dyson. James Dyson praised the UK's Brexit efforts and stated the country was able to produce a world-beating vaccine program because of its independence from the EU. Pro-Brexit James Dyson appeared on BBC Breakfast to talk about the UK's decision to leave the European Union and remarked how the move gave the country an independence of spirit. Mr. Dyson also announced he would be creating over 200 jobs in its research facilities in Wiltshire, adding Brexit allowed him to employ a wide range of people to work for him. The engineer added that the independence from the EU allowed the UK to operate much quicker than Europe in rolling out and developing a vaccine, showing the positives of the Brexit decision. 9:38 a.m. update, EU being awful. Britain's turn on bloc as support for Brexit grows stronger 4 years on. Britons have praised Brexit for allowing the UK to thrive with its vaccine rollout while the European Union crumbles under the pressure of delivering a common response to the pandemic. Former Remainers and Brexiteer rejoiced at the success Britain has had outside of the European Union during the coronavirus crisis. While speaking to RT News, Britons discussed the impact Brexit had on the vaccine rollout and whether it had been positive. The large majority insisted it had been and the EU had been behaving poorly, childishly and messing up its response to COVID. 9:25 a.m. update, Frost asks for more time. Britain has asked for more time to respond to legal action taken by the European Union over its unilateral decision to ease requirements of the Northern Ireland Protocol, Ireland's RTE television reported on Wednesday. The European Union launched legal action against Britain last month for unilaterally changing trading arrangements for Northern Ireland that Brussels says breach the Brexit divorce deal agreed with London last year. Brussels gave London, which has said it has not violated the agreement, a month to respond to the legal action, but the British government has requested an extension of 1 month, RTE reported. RTE correspondent Tony Connolly said in a Twitter post, the request came in 2 letters from the UK's chief Brexit minister David Frost. The British government is due to host Irish Foreign Minister Simon Coveney in London and its EU negotiator David Frost will travel to Brussels on Thursday for talks designed to ease differences over trade and Northern Ireland, the scene of more than a week of riots. 9:20 a.m. update, Frost gears up for crunch meeting on NE Protocol. Brexit Minister Lord Frost and the European Commission's Maros Sefcovic will hold talks in Brussels on Thursday as efforts continue to resolve issues around Northern Ireland. The meeting was confirmed by the European Commission, which said the pair will take stock of ongoing technical work on the Northern Ireland Protocol. The minister and the commission vice president will also provide a political steer for both teams on outstanding issues. Loyalists and Unionists are vehemently opposed to the Northern Ireland Protocol, which has created new economic barriers between the region and the rest of the UK. The arrangements, agreed by the UK and EU as a way to keep the land border on the island of Ireland free-flowing, have been cited as one of the key causal factors behind the violence. 9:02 a.m. Update: EU scandal. MEPs launch probe into Ursula von der Leyen's relationships with consultants. The European Parliament is set to launch a probe into Brussels' spending on big consultancy firms. Senior MEPs will look into the European Commission's relationship with the so-called Big Four, PwC, Deloitte, KPMG and EY. The firms received more than £401 million between 2016 and 2019. Bureaucrats also forked out on separate multi-million euro deals with other firms, such as McKinsey and Accenture. German MEP Monika Hohlmeier told the Euractiv website, "We are going to look into how much money is given to the Big Four, but also to big companies and big NGOs." 8:41 a.m. Update: EU bids to block UK from joining key pact. The EU is trying to prevent the UK joining a key international legal pact, after officials held a crunch meeting yesterday. The EU is reportedly against allowing the UK to sign up for the Lugano Convention, on the basis that it is not a member of either the European Economic Area or the European Free Trade Association. The Financial Times has suggested the Baltic nations along with the Netherlands are said to support the UK's membership, with France less supportive. Lawyer Sarah Chisholm-Batten from Micklemores LLP said not joining the pact would be a real setback for UK businesses and individuals. 8:19 a.m. Update: Digital pound can offer massive post-Brexit boost for UK, says Peer. A digital pound has the potential to give the UK economy a huge shot in the arm as the nation makes its way in the world after Brexit, a Tory peer has said. Lord Amar Sarfraz, a member of the Science and Technology Committee, made his prediction in an article written for the Conservative Home website. He wrote, "A digital pound, backed by the Bank of England, could be a major win for individuals and businesses." With a digital pound, held in an electronic wallet, many bank fees could be eliminated, and foreign currency exchange risks substantially reduced. Importantly, such a currency could compete with Bitcoin's market share, which currently stands at approximately $1 trillion. 8:12 a.m. Update: Sadiq Khan's bid for London to opt out of Brexit unveiled before election. Sadiq Khan has suggested London could have opted out of the Brexit process, remaining in the single market and customs union. Mr. Khan had seized on the implications of a leaked document, which suggested the UK had agreed to grant Northern Ireland special status within the UK to avoid a hard border with the Republic of Ireland. According to that document, the government was prepared, in the absence of agreed solutions, to ensure continued regulatory alignment in Northern Ireland. In response, Mr. Khan said in a tweet that this presented huge ramifications for London's relationship with the EU, too. 7:57 a.m. Update: Use Brexit to protect our seas, urges campaigner. An environmental campaigner has urged Boris Johnson to use Brexit to protect the seas around Britain, and the wildlife living in, from harmful supertrawlers. Chris Thorne, in an op-ed posted on the Conservative Home website, wrote, "Brexit is done, and the UK is now stepping out into the world on its own 2 feet. Brexit has divided opinions, no doubt, but the UK has left the European Union, so we need to seize the opportunities presented to us to make Brexit a success." Perhaps the biggest opportunity presented to us by Brexit is the chance to become a true world leader in protecting our seas. Mr. Thorne added, "For too long now, we have allowed the waters which surround our islands to be degraded by industrial fishing." 7:40 a.m. Update: Countries threaten to block extraditions to UK. EU countries are threatening to restrict or block the extradition of suspected criminals to the UK who are also citizens of their own countries in a move which would create a major law enforcement headache. And lawyers fear the move could result in soaring British prison populations in a major new blow for Prime Minister Boris Johnson. In total, 10 countries, including France and Germany, have ruled out extraditions completely. 2 will only allow them if the individual in question agrees, while another 8 are insisting on other restrictions. The changes reflect the fact the UK is no longer a part of the European arrest warrant scheme, meaning each individual member of the EU 27 now sets its own policy when it comes to extradition.